Welcome to Meet the Voice. I am Iris McElroy, producer here at PRHA. And with me today, the voice is the lovely human Dani Martineck.
Thanks. Thank you so much, Iris, for having me. It's always a pleasure to chat with you. And thanks to PRHA for setting this up and inviting me. I'm Dani Mentors. I use they, them pronouns. I am trained in psychology and experimental psychology. I managed a lab for a while and did that, but then also kind of fell in love with acting and writing and have stayed in touch with those off and on. And now since I've been up here, have kind of started to pursue acting as like the career, as much as I make money doing other things as well to support myself.
A lot of the books that you narrate are YA or in that spectrum in some way. Like, what do you enjoy about narrating in the YA genre, or like, do you want to speak on that?
Sure. I feel like kind of the books that have come to me the most are YA. There's a big old YA chunk, and then off to the side here, there's some literary fiction. And then off to the side here, there's some younger kids, like middle grade books. And I love different things about each of these. Like the middle grade stuff is when I get to go really cartoony, and the kid stuff and just like bring out all the voices, and it's super fun. And the sort of literary fiction stuff is like, oh yes, if I was reading novels, like I might actually pick this one off the shelf and like give it a chance, and like, yes, that's kind of what I would pick for myself to read. So it's very edifying to like get to narrate those. And then the YA is fascinating. It is not necessarily the genre I pick off the shelf for myself to read or to listen to, but as a storyteller, like even just remembering that time of my life, teens feel so much all the time. And there are all these just like different forces working with and against each other to make that happen. The sheer drama of the story in YA is fascinating.
And yes, there's so many feelings. Are you finding more and more that stories are being written for trans and non-binary characters, or there are trans and non-binary characters in this genre in particular, or do you think it's like overall?
It does seem that I would not have been able to find these books when I was this age.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you. I read a lot when I was a kid, you know, and thinking back, I think most of the stories I really loved were all about young white kids. And like, you never saw a trans character, you never saw a non-binary character. That was never, you know, even people of color. Like, I don't remember any of the books that were presented to me as a child in middle school that it wasn't a thing. So yeah, it is really cool to kind of see the whole publishing and audiobook industry change. And even just in like the past 10 years, you know, like having more representation, it's very exciting.
It is positive to see. And I think more and more authors are getting published, getting produced. Like these things are happening. So narrators, if some of you are thinking, oh, but it just like feels like a lot of work to get into VO, and I don't know, I would like to, but I don't know. If there's anything I can do to help, please go to my website, danimartineck.com. I have a contact page. Just shoot me an email if you feel like I might be someone who can answer any question, and I will do my best. And if I'm not the person, maybe I know someone who might be able to answer your question.
So when you were first starting to get into narration, were there any resources that really helped you, or do you have any resources that you found that you would recommend to new narrators?
So the biggest thing that helped me was having a mentor friend, Kevin R. Free. Thank you so much. Everything you bring to the world is such a joy and a light, and you lead the children, including me, so well. So thank you for sharing all of you and all your insights. The producer who brought me into Penguin, thank you. Nick Martorelli was kind of needling me about like, you should get on Ahab. You should get an Ahab, which is Penguin Random House Audio's in-house narrator database. which is free to do and free to look up auditions and connect you right to producers. Get on Ahab. It is free.
What advice do you have for narrators when it comes to connecting in that way, or even just general advice for narrators or for people who are just starting to get into this?
Focus on the totality of you and make that available to producers, who are often the ones casting these books, as much as you feel comfortable with. And we will say this, there are broad societal structures in place that within which we are making these decisions. And for everyone, it might not be a safe decision to disclose everything about your identity. So that is, everyone, please make the choice that is correct for you. And we understand that these decisions are not occurring in a vacuum. But the more you do feel comfortable self-disclosing things about yourself that might conceivably be reflected in a book, the easier it is for folks to find you who are doing these casting things. And these are technically hiring conversations. So Iris, you and your colleagues are not allowed to ask me, hey, do you identify as non-binary?
Right.
Like, hey, are you queer? Like we have to self-disclose. In addition to narrators, as they feel comfortable disclosing about themselves, the things about themselves that they would like to be taken into consideration for potential jobs. Like if you're trans and you would like to narrate trans-owned voices books, as much as you're comfortable making that clear. But also on the publisher and producer side, making sure that it is safe for folks to do so. Keep in mind, this is your career. This is your artistry. Casting is a conversation. Auditions are a conversation. If a book audition comes through and you kind of get further into it, you start reading it and you're like, this is not for me. No is a complete sentence. And this is very, please just feel empowered to say no. I know there are so many things that go into that as well. Like some people might be in a situation of more financial need and really need this job. But to the extent that it is an option for you, please don't feel like your career will suffer if you turn down an audition.
Absolutely. Well, Dani, thank you so much for joining me for this great conversation on Meet the Voice. If you want to find other episodes of Meet the Voice and see what other narrators have going on, you can find all episodes on YouTube.